Let's talk about ADHD.
Okay,
I've had this condition for my whole life, but I only got diagnosed a couple weeks ago.
a couple weeks ago. Okay, tell me about it.
So I was always a bright student. I was very intelligent. I would get straight A's, very competitive in terms of grades,
Yes.
growing up.
Okay.
And then like high school hit, and then I crashed in like senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the symptoms started showing where I'd be inconsistent with habits, calling myself a failure,
Okay.
and then inattentiveness to paying attention, like inattentiveness to teachers and what they're saying, and always fidgeting and looking for the next dopamine hit. That's what ADHD is. It's like a malfunction with the reward system where you have lower amounts of dopamine compared to the average person.
Okay.
And so the reason why you're so inattentive and hyperactive is because you're looking for that dopamine hit. The thing that you're focusing on right now is not giving you that. So that's why you're inattentive and you're looking elsewhere.
Okay.
And so that's why it's been very difficult for me to stick to habits a lot. I've
Mm-hmm.
only stuck to a couple habits like the gym, um, and playing guitar, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's always been really tough. And I would always tell myself, like, oh shit, like what's wrong with me? I have a problem. And then it wasn't until like a lot of university counselors told me to go get a diagnosis for it
Okay.
because they all told me like they see patterns of it. So yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So when you went to the doctors to get the uh diagnosis, prognosis, whatever it's called, what kind of test did they do? Like if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to talk about it, but I'm just like curious.
Well, it was mostly like a self questionnaire,
Okay.
self assessment. And
Mm-hmm.
so I basically ticked all the boxes of ADHD. And my doctor also took a look at my report cards to
Ah,
see
okay.
any teacher comments and to see like how I was behaving in class and stuff. My doctor knows that I was a very good student.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like after that, she talked to my mom.
Yeah.
She talked to my dad,
Okay.
everybody that I basically knew,
Mm-hmm.
and asked them questions about me and stuff. And
Okay.
then after like she diagnosed me with it, and then now I'm gonna take meds for it. So hopefully this shit can help.
Okay.
I don't care what anybody says, right? Everybody who says like meds aren't, oh, you're gonna be hooked onto meds, bro. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know what it's like to live with a mind like this. It's crazy.
Right. Okay. So the meds, like, do they like calm you down? Are they like what did
It's
exactly
a
they
it's
do?
a stimulant,
Okay.
so it's a stimulant drug. So what it does is actually declutters my mind at least. It
Okay.
causes suppression of appetite too. I've noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely a side effect that I gotta think about.
Okay.
But it has caused me to be extremely productive in my day. And whenever I would see things on the ground, for example, that I need to put away, I don't think about it anymore. I immediately do it. It's like an executive function.
Oh,
It's
wow.
already going to be executed.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes a huge difference. And it's like, if I was able to get a bachelor's and do grad school with ADHD and complete it, and also IB, we can't
Yeah.
forget that. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh my
That's
God.
crazy that I had ADHD while doing those things. It just pisses me off low key
Mm-hmm.
because if I was diagnosed sooner, who knows where I'd be.
Right. But then like in the past, I mean, let's just say in the past, like did you know that you had like ADHD
No,
or did you have like some
I thought it
like
was,
thought?
I thought I was just a person with a lot of problems.
Okay.
I didn't realize, I thought I just had to try harder. But
Okay.
even when trying harder was done by me,
Mm-hmm.
even though I tried hard, people would always tell me to try harder, even harder, that I'm not doing enough, that I'm lazy and stuff. When I'm really trying my best to do all
Yeah.
these things, but it's difficult when you're neurodivergent.
Mhm. I think
So,
that also might be because of the environment that we were in, because you
mm,
said you did like IB and stuff, which is like super difficult. Because like telling like what a 15, 16-year-old kid to be like working on like IAs, EEs and stuff like that, like for the first
Yeah,
time, you're
bro.
like, what? Like, because like the
Yeah,
jump from like middle school to high school is like pretty big. But then like
yeah,
that's for like normal like academic students. But then like if you're jumping from like middle school all the way to like IB, you're basically I feel like that's somewhat the same as us like jumping from high school to like university. You're completely thrown into like something brand new that you don't know like
yeah.
what's going on.
Like
And the teachers aren't good and they can't help
yeah.
you.
And I will say for a
Hmm.
fact, I found IB harder than university.
Yeah.
Like that's like we'll make a separate video. Actually,
Yeah.
we should make a video about that. Like
Yeah.
we
We
should
can
talk
talk
about
about that.
like
Hmm.
our high school experience or
Yeah.
like
We can do
our
that.
experience with high school. Yeah, anyways. So I noticed ADHD symptoms after 18 where I would be
Hmm.
inconsistent with working out, for example, at the time,
Yeah.
or inconsistent with my eating habits or forgetting things like very easily
Okay.
and stuff. So I don't know. It's like you've been trying for years to create habits and to follow through with your goals, but you always like in a couple weeks go back to default. Imagine doing that for 7 years. Like you're trying to make progress and you make momentum, but
Hmm.
one little thing can fuck it all up and make you go on a momentum of self-hatred. And because I wasn't able to create habits, I would tell
Hmm.
myself like, "Oh, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm not good enough. I feel like
Okay.
an imposter and shit." So yeah, that's what
Oh,
happened. So ADHD leads to depression, not the other way around.
okay. Yeah,
That's not how. Yeah,
I feel like that would be true because like for example like yeah you say like you have ADHD and then you keep thinking that like oh yeah you're not good enough or like you're doing something and like you think it's good but then like the back of your mind saying like oh yeah this isn't good enough and then you have like other people saying oh yeah you got to work harder that's
yeah,
gonna
bro.
wreck you
It
like
did,
yeah
bro,
I can tell
because I was a very bright student.
yeah
And so I don't think people would have expected such a bright student to have this, but there are cases for that,
hmm okay
right? And I think the symptoms really started showing when I had like a breaking point in senior year
yeah
where I just didn't give a shit about school anymore. I
hmm
didn't want to pay attention
yeah
and I stopped caring. Maybe I went through certain things. Like I was cheated on that year.
oh yeah
So I don't
yeah
know
that
if that could have caused anything to
probably
trigger. I don't know. But even like high school itself, I didn't really like high school. So it could be that. Like, I'm not sure. No one really suspected it from me because I was a straight A student from like
yeah
grade
hmm
4 to like 11th grade.
hmm So in that case, what's the term about it? Do you think that's like environmental factors? So what's that? Nature versus nurture.
It's
So
both.
it's both.
It's
But I
definitely both. Like,
both.
I think I
Hmm.
know I know one person in my family that has it.
Okay.
So it could be genetic, but
Hmm.
it could also be environment in terms of like perhaps maybe phone usage
Okay. Yeah.
or
So.
playing a lot of video games, for
Hmm.
example, or eating a lot of junk would have taught you that instant gratification is the way to go.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Okay.
so your brain on ADHD is looking for the next dopamine hit, and that's why you're so like restless and fidgety, and that's why
Hmm.
it's so hard to make habits and to quit addictions.
Oh yeah, because like back then, that's when we started to. I don't want to say addictions, but yeah, that's when we started developing our like interests or like the things that we like really enjoy, and then eventually that could potentially turn to an addiction, right? For example, like if you're addicted, like back then, if you're like super into like you know uh, what's an example? Pokemon cards, right? And then now like you have like money to buy it, that and you keep going to buy it, like you're addicted, or like let's
Yeah,
say
I think
you.
impulsivity
Mhm,
is the biggest
mhm.
characteristic too.
Like let's say like you learn about like blackjack or poker in like high school and stuff and then you think oh my God this is like so fun, that's how you start like a gambling problem, like by the time you're
Yeah,
like 20, 30, 40, you're gonna be like gambling like everything, and that's really,
Yeah.
really bad. And that
And
starts
even like
early.
neurotypical people definitely get addictions. We know this.
Hmm.
But for the
Hmm.
ADHD mind, which is always looking for novelty and
Hmm.
looking for that dopamine hit,
Hmm.
you can get addicted very easily. It's a curse, bro. Everybody who says ADHD is a superpower, it could be in certain cases. You can be definitely more creative. But
Hmm.
overall, bro, no, no fucking way. It's not a superpower. It's not like an advantage in any way. It's crippling.
Yeah, I feel like it's not that like good, or well, I don't want to say good, but yeah, it doesn't seem like
No,
it's
it's not.
a
It's not
benefit.
fun.
Yeah, it
No,
seems more of a hindrance than a benefit.
it is. Yeah, but like honestly, like I think I'm still mad that my
Hmm.
parents and like I guess none of my teachers really
Noticed it?
said anything. Yeah,
Okay,
about it.
okay.
But whatever it is, what it is.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah.
we move past that. We don't look back. We look forward. Like remember, dude, like the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. So that's all you need to know. But it's also good that we can like talk
What the
about it.
fuck did you say to me?
I said the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. Do I need to
Okay,
explain that or
cool.
no?
All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay. Well, it's
Okay,
good that we can
bye.
talk about it. All right, take it easy.